Hello students, myself Shashi Kumar S K, Department of Physics, IDSG College, Chikmagalur. In the last sessions, we had completed the theory of the rectifiers. In this class, we are going to conduct a new lesson which is very interesting as well as very easy chapter, which is a very small chapter, that is filters, which is having a weightage of only 2 hours. In the previous session itself, we had came across the term filters. That is, in the rectifiers, we had came across the term filters. In that rectifier, we had termed it in the sense of rectification application. That is, in that rectifier, there will be a presence of pulsating DC, which means it consists of slightly AC current or AC voltage in that rectified output. Therefore, to remove that AC part, we are going to use filters, and there are 4 types of filters as per according to the rectification process. But in this chapter, it's entirely a different process or a different concept in which the filter refers to somewhat a change compared to that of rectification filters. So now let us come across this filters, which is called as frequency filters. In generally, we used to say it as a filters, but in particularly we are going to say a frequency filter. In the last chapter, we had discussed about filters, but which related to the rectification process. But here we are going to use a same term filter, but that is on the basis of frequency filters. That is, there will be a certain thing regarding about a filtering circuit. Therefore, in general or in a particularly in this chapter, we study about a frequency filter. Generally, a filter refers to a device or an instrument which removes the unwanted things. Generally, in a local language also, we are going to use a filter that is based on the purification process, that is coffee filter or the water filter, like this. In that filter, we are going to remove unwanted thing. Let us take a term filter, that is water filter. In a water filter, there will be a removal of the disinfections or any small impurities present in a water. Therefore, a pure water is going to be obtained. In a coffee filter, we are going to obtain a decoction. So that in general, filter means instrument which removes the unwanted thing. Here, let us see about a frequency filter. Frequency filter is nothing but an electrical network that will transmit signals with frequency within certain designated range and suppress signals of other frequency, which means this frequency filters will transmit or allows to pass the certain range of frequency. A decided range of frequency are going to be allowed and other frequencies are going to be removed or suppressed, or a range with a range is going to be passed which has been initially decided. If there is any variation in the frequency range, then that different frequency range will not be allowed. So such a electrical network is called as frequency filter. In simple, it is said as a particular range of frequencies are going to be allowed and other range of frequencies are going to be removed or suppressed. ಬರೀ ನಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಬೇಕೋ ಆ ರೇಂಜಿನ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟು, ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂಥ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್. ದಿಸ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ಅ frequency, not an amplitude or a wavelength or any other parameters are not going to be affect this types of frequency filter. The thing which is going to be taken consideration is only frequency. If in case in a specific ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ we are going to have what we say habit of listening the music stations like FM stations. In FM stations, we will tune a particular range of frequency, that is 98 or 95, on certain frequency na ನಾವು ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ರೇಂಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ 98 ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಟ್ಯೂನ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ 98 ಹರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಬರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಏನು ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ಡಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 80 ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಬಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, 110 ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಬಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸರ್ಟೈನ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಏನಿದೆ 80 ಆರ್ 90 ನಾವೇನನ್ನು ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಆ ಒಂದು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ is going to be have a 4 types of filters, that is high pass filter, low pass filter, band pass filter and band stop filter. These are the majorly classified as a frequency filters, that is low pass filter first one, high pass filter is the second one, band pass filter is the third one and fourth one is band stop filter. Okay, now let us come across one by one. Before going to these different types of filters, let us see about one of the important concept, that is cutoff frequency. The cutoff frequency means the frequency at which signal strength drops by 3 decibel, that is 3 dB, or the signal power becomes half, is called as cutoff frequency. Which means as we vary the frequency there will be an output voltage also. Then if the output voltage drops to 3 decibel or the signal power of that output voltage or the output will reduces to half of the maximum value. The maximum value will going to be lost for half of the value, or it is going to be in general or in a particular way it will be said as the strength of that signals will going to be drops by 3 dB. That frequency is known as cutoff frequency, which means when we plot a graph of the gain versus the frequency, the lesser than 3 dB value is going to be cuts in a graph and that frequency is called as cutoff frequency, which means the signal strength reduces to 3 dB or the power of the signals will be reduced to half of the value. That frequency is called as cutoff frequency. Then this, as I mentioned about the different types of filters, those frequency filters are going to be constructed by using the RC combination. Hence it is also called as RC filter, which means a resistor capacitor filter. A resistor capacitor filter is said as RC filter. In generally, a frequency filter are going to be designed by this combination. The filters designed using a resistor and a capacitor are called as RC filters, because we are going to use these two equipments for the construction of frequency filter. Hence it is also termed as RC frequency filter. In shortly it is going to be said as RC filters. Now let us going to know about a one by one, that is low pass filter. Low pass filter means the low pass filter transmits all the frequency below a limiting frequency of C, that means a cutoff frequency, and stops all those above this frequency, which means above cutoff frequency this frequency filter will not going to produce an output, which means there will be output voltage below the cutoff frequency. Above the cutoff frequency there will be no signal passing, which means the signals are going to be allowed below the cutoff frequency, not above the cutoff frequency. Usually we are going to say as in terms of, or we are going to calculate in terms of voltage or in terms of gain, which means output voltage ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರೋವಂತಹ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಮಗೆ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರೋವಂತಹ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡೋವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಲೋ ಪಾಸ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯನ್ ಹೈ ಪಾಸ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್, ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಪ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ high pass filter transmit all the frequency above the limiting frequency FC called cutoff frequency and stops all those below this frequency, which means above the cutoff frequency these signals are going to be allowed, and below the cutoff frequency the signals are going to be ignored, which means there will be no output value below the cutoff frequency. Up to cutoff frequency there will be no output value, therefore the gain will be drops. Hence above the cutoff frequency there will be an output value. Hence after crossing the cutoff frequency there will be output voltage, which means the higher values of the signals are going to be allowed in this high pass filter, because after the cutoff frequency the signals are going to be passed through the circuit. But in a low pass filter, above the cutoff frequency there will be no output or signals are not going to be passed. Therefore for a smaller values we use a low pass filter, and for a higher values of frequency we use a high pass filter. And the next one is band pass filter. Band pass filter passes frequency in a particular band between two cutoff frequencies and stops those above and below this band limits. As I mentioned, that is cutoff frequency. Cutoff frequency means a reduction of maximum value to the half of its strength, that is signal strength will be going to be reduced to half of its value. The power is going to be reduced to half of the value. That value will going to be obtained by using a desired calculation. When we plot those two graph we are going to obtain the two cutoff frequency. This band pass filter allows the frequency in these two bands. ಆ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಆ ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಲೋವರ್ ಎಂಡ್, ಅದರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿನ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದನ್ನು ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ 2 ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಡೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ನ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡೆಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಲೋಡ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ರೇಂಜ್. Then comes a band stop filter. A band stop filter stops a frequency within a specific band and passes those above and below the limits of the band, which means as a band pass filter na exact opposite ಇದೆ. Band pass filter ನಲ್ಲಿ we are going to allow the particular band, but band stop will going to be neglect, or there will be no passing of a frequency in that particular band. Above and below there will be a passing of or allowing of frequency above and below the 2 cutoff frequency. This is about a band pass and band stop filter. Band pass and band stop filter na ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದರೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಸಪೋಸ್ 2 ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ 100 ಮತ್ತು 150 ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ 100 to 150 ಮಾತ್ರ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಲೋ 100 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಬೋವ್ 150 ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಲೋಡ್. ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್, 100 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ 150 ಕಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಬಿಲೋ 100 ಎಬೋವ್ 150 ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಅಲೋ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ 100 ಮತ್ತು 150 ಎರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರೋವಂಥ ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸೀಸು ಅಲೋ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಅದು ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟರ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ filters. In the next class we are going to make a session of construction and working of low pass and high pass filter. Thank you.